CTV Edmonton, local breaking news with Evan Kenny.
Good evening. The province's Minister of Hospitals says he doesn't believe a recently released list of deaths and near misses in Alberta ERs is representative of the state of Alberta's healthcare system. Doctors working in those emergency rooms say the province needs to stop holding press conferences and make changes to alleviate wait times. CTV's Connor Hogg reports.
Alberta Hospitals Minister Matt Jones says the new emergency room at the Peter Lougheed Centre in Calgary will add 97 patient beds and 28 emergency beds to the province's acute care system.
It is an unfortunate reality that sick and frail people do access care in hospitals.
While the beds are supposed to open at the end of February, doctors have spent the last couple of weeks calling for more immediate help. They compiled a list of deaths and near misses in Alberta emergency rooms. Jones says the cases represent a small portion of the experiences of patients in the province.
It's difficult to comment on it both from a privacy and legal perspective, but also because it is anonymous and the sites have also been redacted. But rest assured, we have a process in place whenever there is an adverse event.
I think that emergency physicians have already made it loud and clear how bad the conditions are, how much our patients are suffering. I think we need to find a way to move this narrative forward to what are we going to change.
Dr. Warren Thirsk says the province doesn't understand the toll that ER shortages are having on both physicians and the patients they care for.
When we express what our patients are suffering and we get tone-deaf announcements or announcements that are just, coded over, they tell us it's the flu when I know it's not the flu, then it makes us feel like we're not being heard.
The opposition NDP is asking to call back the legislature early to deal with problems in the health system.
What we need is to ensure that there is one group that has decision-making authority that is making decisions across acute care, primary care, assisted living, and recovery in Alberta.
I've met with physicians. I've offered working group meetings between Acute Care Alberta, my department, and the AMA. And all day long, we want to work with everyone to make the system better.
The Alberta Medical Association has confirmed to CTV News that a meeting with Minister Jones is in the works. It says no date is set. Connor Hogg, CTV News, Edmonton.
The Alberta Association of Midwives says moving a program from Edmonton to Fort Saskatchewan could leave a gap in care. The provincial government is moving the in-hospital registered midwifery service from the Royal Alex to Fort Saskatchewan. The program provided support for community midwives. The province says in Fort Saskatchewan, they will be integrated into the care team instead of playing a supporting role. The association says instead of moving the program, it would like to see more midwives.
It's a program that exists in Calgary, so, it's something that we see has been very beneficial for sustainability of the profession, for midwives who are on call 24/7. There is, I think, a need to find ways to navigate the system. Ultimately, what I think really would be the best, though, and I think we are aligned with the government on trying to work towards this, is seeing midwifery as the sustainable solution for obstetric care.
Midwives provide primary care during pregnancy, labor, birth, and postpartum. There are 56 registered in Edmonton. A petition to oust Education Minister Demetrios Nicolaides did not garner enough signatures in time. Still, the Calgarian behind it considers it a success. The organizer brought a box of the signatures to the Elections Alberta office in Edmonton this afternoon. She says nearly 7,000 were collected. More than 16,000 were needed to trigger a recall vote. That's 60% of the number of votes cast in Nicolaides' riding of Calgary-Bow in the most recent election. Tomorrow is the deadline.
This is, to me, a tremendous success. 6,800, or call it more than 6,500 signatures doesn't tell our education minister that his constituents have an issue with the way that he's leading us. I don't know what will.
The petition was the first of 26 launched against members of Alberta's legislature in the final months of 2025. The next deadline is on February 3rd for Airdrie East MLA and Angela Pitt. Canada's Prime Minister addressed leaders at the World Economic Forum in Davos today. Mark Carney says the rules-based world order is fading and we must adapt. He also reaffirmed Canada's support for Greenland. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver is in Davos with more on Carney's remarks.
Nestled in the usually calm mountains of the ski town Davos, a chaotic meeting of hundreds of politicians and top business leaders at the World Economic Forum that this year Prime Minister Mark Carney used to deliver a frank message about the future.
The old order is not coming back. We shouldn't mourn it. Nostalgia is not a strategy. But we believe that from the fracture we can build something bigger, better, stronger, more just.
Carney declared the U.S.-led world order dead and said countries must turn inward now that it's clear integration can lead to subordination.
Call it what it is, a system of intensifying great power rivalry where the most powerful pursue their interests using economic integration as coercion.
Withstanding those economic shocks, the Prime Minister said will require like-minded countries to pivot, to work together to hedge uncertainty. While Trump's name was never mentioned, Carney did call on middle powers like Canada to push back against domination by great powers, using tariffs as leverage and supply chains as vulnerabilities to be exploited.
In a world of great power rivalry, the countries in between have a choice. Compete with each other for favor, or to combine to create a third path with impact.
The message receiving what organizers described as a rare standing ovation at a summit where geopolitics and the future of Greenland is looming large.
Our commitment to NATO's Article 5 is unwavering. Canada strongly opposes tariffs over Greenland and calls for focused talks to achieve our shared objectives of security and prosperity in the Arctic.
Carney may get a chance to raise his concerns about Greenland directly to the U.S. president. While no meeting is currently scheduled between Carney and Donald Trump, the U.S. president will be here tomorrow at the same time as Mark Carney. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Davos, Switzerland.
The first shipment of Canadian beef to China in more than 4 years is being prepared. China banned Canadian beef in late 2021 after an atypical case of BSE, also known as mad cow disease, was found on an Alberta farm. Federal Agriculture Minister Heath MacDonald says China is moving quickly to import Canadian beef after Ottawa struck a deal with Beijing to reduce tariffs. MacDonald says he's aware of a Canadian company shipping its first load of beef to China next week.
It's very interesting because when the door opened, it opened, and business people, and I got to give kudos to our stakeholders, farmers and processors, ranchers. They're ready.
We welcomed them reopening. To be honest, it should have been reopened 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago. There was never scientific justification for maintaining the closure.
A Chinese importer has also bought a shipment of about 60,000 metric tons of Canadian canola. It's the first order since China halted imports in October in the dispute over tariffs. The owner of an auto body shop in Chinatown was among several witnesses called to testify at a murder trial today. His employee is one of 2 men beaten to death during a pair of unprovoked attacks in 2022. A day he says was traumatic and one he'll never forget. CTV's Amanda Anderson reports.
What happened inside the washroom of this auto body shop is the current focus of a second-degree murder trial. Justin Bone is accused in unprovoked attacks in Chinatown nearly 4 years ago, killing 64-year-old Hung Trang, an employee at the auto body shop, and 61-year-old Bonfu Kwang at his nearby electronics store. Today, the owner of the auto body shop was called as a witness. Anthony Hyde told the court he was in a different building when an employee came to tell him there was an altercation. A video timeline from several surveillance cameras was played. Hyde says 3 employees went with him to see what was going on, as seen in the video. He testified a man was coming out of the washroom and mumbled something about wanting to fight. Hyde says an employee then asked for someone to call 911. It was then he saw Trang in the bathroom area. I saw Hung laying face down on the floor with water flowing, Hyde said. said, explaining the water was coming from a toilet that had been broken. High says he wanted to keep the man in his sights, eventually getting into his vehicle to follow him. I don't want to incriminate myself, but I made an illegal U-turn, High testified, saying he also called a private security company he'd hired because of past problems in Chinatown. During cross-examination, Bone's lawyer pointed out a few discrepancies between what High said in court and what he told police at the time. The defense asked if he agreed his memory may have faded. High replied yes and no, saying it was traumatic. He agreed he may have forgotten a few specifics, but told the court it's pretty hard to forget something like this. 2 other shop employees testified, one telling the court he and Trang both asked the man to leave. He also recalled seeing what he thought was dried blood on the man's face. The trial continues tomorrow. Amanda Anderson, CTV News, Edmonton.
Edmonton police have released new composite sketches of a child that went missing in 1983. Tanya Morel was 6 years old when she was last seen walking home from Grosvenor Elementary School for lunch 43 years ago today. Family and friends reported her missing when she did not arrive home. Police have released sketches of what Morel may look like today at age 49 in hopes of generating tips. They say the sketch was created using photographs, known physical characteristics, modern forensic techniques, and consultation with family. Edmonton Police says Morel is its only outstanding missing child case. The city is updating its rules for developing, using, and protecting the river valley. The Ribbon of Green strategic plan was first passed more than 3 decades ago. This updated version was done in consultation with Indigenous nations, conservationists, and a range of user groups. The plan sets standards for protecting and restoring natural areas, river access, development, and general land management. City staff and council will lean on the policy when making decisions that impact any part of the river valley.
We love our river valley, and we all like to use our river valley differently. For some of us, it's a picnic. Others, it's a hike. Some people, it's home. It's very complex to make a plan that serves not just the river valley, but all of the ravines and everything else. But this plan endeavors to do that.
Activities that were allowed under the old Ribbon of Green policy are still allowed under the new one. One priority for River Valley advocates is to complete the 100-kilometer trail system from Devon to Fort Saskatchewan, which is about 75% finished. The City of Edmonton says 75% of residential roads have been cleared. However, one driver says a lack of sanding afterwards led her to crash her car. CTV's Miriam Valdez-Carletti has more.
Icy road conditions in Ritchie created a slippery situation for Danette Mole on Monday.
I slid straight towards the front end of her car, and there's nothing I could do. The brakes did absolutely nothing, didn't even slow me down, just boom, and it was really scary for both of us.
This is the damage left on her car, a smashed headlight to a hanging rear bumper. Mole says the roads were plowed last week, but with the snow melt and freezing conditions, she says the lack of sanding is dangerous.
I'm not sure why they didn't come by and sand after they did the plowing, because I think they just made the situation worse, unfortunately.
She's not the only one in her neighborhood having trouble navigating the roads.
I watched a neighbor of mine do a 180 right in front of my house a couple days ago. It's happening to everyone.
City Councillor Michael Jan says while it's important to clear the roads of snow, so is clearing them of ice.
We know that when we put down gravel, it can be gone in 45 minutes. One of my colleagues has moved a motion exploring calcium chloride. I think we need to talk about having all options on the table.
The city says residential roadways are cleared with 5 centimeters of snowpack to improve traffic flow, rather than clearing them to bare pavement, adding, while this approach is consistent with our service level, we recognize that the freeze-thaw cycles and snow melt can still create icy conditions, and we ask residents to drive cautiously.
If there are blind corners, slick corners, icy corners, those may be areas where we need a little more love.
As for Mole, her car is going to need more than just TLC after talking to her insurance company.
We're just starting the process, but they'll write it off. The damage is quite a lot.
The city says phase 2 of the parking ban is set to be lifted by Friday night. Miriam Valdez-Carletti, CTV News, Edmonton.
City Council is gearing up for a detailed debate about the snow and ice budget this summer. One councillor wants to explore adding surge capacity to that budget so the city can respond faster to extreme snowfall.
Sure, we can have that base budget, but in the event of unforeseen circumstances, do we have a solid and workable plan that will ensure that in the future we don't find ourselves in the same situation that we just recently went through?
Edmonton saw 3 times the amount of snow it usually does in the month of December. Councillor Aaron Paquette says people have told him they're willing to pay a bit more in taxes for better snow clearing. He's asking city staff to look into on-call contracts for private plow operators, how to clear sidewalks for those with mobility issues, and the frequency of extreme winter weather. A warning today about potentially unsafe ice after a recent warm-up. RCMP say ice surfaces with moving water underneath, like lakes, rivers, and storm ponds, could be dangerous whether you are walking or driving. It says to obey signs near ice surfaces, which can indicate whether conditions are safe. RCMP say if the ice has cracks, it is not safe. Ice color is also important.
And once you're over the water, you want to look at the color. So blue ice is very strong ice. White ice is about half that. That's refrozen ice. And then if it's got a dull grayish color, that is not safe ice. That means it's saturated with water. It's not going to be very strong.
When it comes to ice thickness, RCMP say 8 inches is sufficient for walking on, 10 inches is enough for ATVs, and 12 inches is safe for a vehicle. Coming up next, climbing for charity. Alberta's Education Minister steps away from the legislature to take on an adventure. Also just ahead, a new report shows screen time limits are no longer enough.
Kids' digital lives are really shaped not just by families, but by schools, by industry design choices, and by public policy as well.
Good evening, folks. This is the last mild day that we'll see for about a week as some colder air is set to drop in. 0 for a daytime high today. We'll be about 10 degrees colder tomorrow and about 20 degrees colder Thursday, Friday. Closer look at that in just a few minutes.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
A group of Albertans, including Alberta's Education Minister, have successfully climbed Mount Kilimanjaro for charity. The group summited Africa's highest mountain in Tanzania as part of a fundraising effort called Melanie's Ascent. It's in honor of Demetrios Nicolaides' sister, who was killed by her estranged husband 2 years ago. It took the group 8 days to reach the peak at more than 19,000 feet elevation. They also reached their fundraising target of $300,000 for Fear of Is Not Love to help women facing domestic abuse. The American Academy of Pediatrics has released a new policy statement about screen time for children. A decade ago, it called on parents to limit the amount of time kids spent on a phone, computer, or tablet, but new guidance now also puts the onus on government and tech companies. CTV's Tyson Fedor explains.
New guidance is calling for more action from more parties to limit screen time for children.
This policy, what's new is it takes a real system-wide approach and recognizes that kids' digital lives are really shaped not just by families, but by schools, by industry design choices, and by public policy as well.
The American Academy of Pediatrics released a new policy which included input from researchers, including the University of Calgary's Sherry Madigan. Experts are calling for change from tech companies and government.
Includes things like turning off autoplay by default, limiting these algorithmic feeds to kids, and removing a lot of targeted advertising that's going towards young children.
Following a global trend, Alberta banned cell phones in elementary and high schools in 2024 to give kids more focus and school staff fewer distractions. But the new policy also indicates kids need more real-world interaction in early childhood. Screen time for kids below age 5 negatively impacts sleep, language, and social skills and leads to more angry outbursts. School-age children with too much screen time lose attention faster, struggle in school, and are at higher risk of weight gain. As for teenagers, too much screen time leads to higher levels of depression or anxiety.
Taking up too much of people's time is not like being able to go outside and do actual things.
I don't like phones in school, especially because we can't like really learn, especially when you're on your phone. Like, what do you do? Like, when you're supposed to be cleaning at home, you always go on your phone, like scroll a little bit. I was getting that bad habit.
The American Academy of Children and Adolescent Psychiatry recommends screen time for kids aged 6 to 15 be less than 2 hours per day.
I think it's a huge problem, to be honest. I wish I can cut down on my phone use, but I can do so much on my phone.
I'm on my phone so much. It's definitely a problem, but like he said, there's a lot you can do on there, so it's good but bad at the same time.
The policy suggests modeling healthy digital habits, adding parental controls, and carving out screen-free time for the entire family. Tyson Fedor, CTV News, Calgary.
A skier was caught in an avalanche in Lake Louise today.
Oh, avalanche, 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 avalanche.
Parks Canada says the skier triggered the slide while just outside the ski area boundary. It was rated as a 2 on a scale of 5, which Avalanche Canada says is about the size of a football field. The skier was carried to the bottom, buried to their waist, and lost their skis, but was not hurt. The recent warmer weather has led to unstable snowpack, and anyone in the backcountry is advised to be careful. A Cochrane thrift store is celebrating 2 milestones. Home Treasurers accepts donations of household goods. The items are sorted and then sold in the store. The money raised goes back into the community, funding a variety of charities. 2025 marked a 1-year record of raising and donating almost $400,000. Home Treasurers also celebrated $1 million donated in the past 5 years. The Cochrane Humane Society is just one of the charities supported by the thrift store.
Without them, we wouldn't have been able to help these animals the way that we did and get them on the right, healthy start to finding their next family.
Considering that so many of our items are $2, $5, $3, so it's not a lot of huge ticket items, and we just so rely on the Cochrane community to just keep on coming through the back door with donations.
Home Treasurers has helped more than 40 organizations. Still ahead, an Edmontonian making his debut at the Paralympics this March.
Basically, my whole career playing, like it's built up to this moment here.
Programming brought to you by the Billy Joel Songbook with your Edmonton Symphony Orchestra. Learn more at winspearcenter.com.
Welcome back. Handful of degrees above average today as we got to the freezing mark, -6, the morning low. That's on par with the average high for this time of year. As mentioned earlier in the newscast, though, I think daytime highs Thursday, Friday are going to be colder than the average lows. So a real flip as some Arctic air comes spilling in from the north. It's really stormy weather with some snow squalls in northeastern Alberta through the early evening hours. Tomorrow should be a quieter day, at least as far as the snow is concerned. It is going to be fairly breezy, though, across parts of central and eastern Alberta. Here in Edmonton, we'll get a mix of sun and cloud tomorrow. Cloudy skies to start Thursday, and then some clearing as an Arctic high-pressure system moves its way in from the northeast. Watch your temperatures drop. There was today, not bad across most of the province, fairly mild to above average temperatures. You notice we lose most of that light blue zone, though. This cold air, the dark blues, purples, and pinks starts to dig in. Thursday for the Edmonton area could be one of the coldest days. Thursday, Friday. I think Friday we're still locked into some of that colder air. And then through the course of the weekend, milder air will start to press in from the west. That'll move that Arctic air off to the east. And so this is a chance we could be closer to the 0 to -5 range already on Sunday. I'm going to keep us around -8, -9 for Sunday, Monday. Back to around -5, it looks like, by the middle of next week, and then around or just slightly above average by the end of next week. Here's your real cool down, though. Daytime highs close to -20 for Thursday and Friday. Tomorrow morning, -12 in Edmonton, -10 in Red Deer, about -15 in the morning in Fort McMurray, -17 in the afternoon as temperatures are dropping through the day, -13 in Cold Lake, about -10 for Grand Prairie. Red Deer at about -7 for a daytime high. And here in the city, we'll see temperatures around -8 for a daytime high. It is going to be breezy, though, so wind chill for most of the day. It's going to be in the -15 to -20 range. Actual temperatures in that -15 to -20 range Thursday, Friday. Mornings well into the -20s, especially for Friday and Saturday morning. And then we slowly start to dig back out next week. That is your forecast.
An Edmontonian has cracked Canada's Paralympic hockey roster for the upcoming Winter Games. Micah Kovacevic will be one of 17 players to wear the maple leaf at the Paralympics in March. This will be his Paralympic debut. Their first game is against Slovakia, March 7th. All right, that's all the time we have. Miriam Valdez-Carletti is back on the desk tomorrow night. Have a good rest of your night.